Hey everyone, Charlie Klausner here. I'm just going to go through this presentation as a practice for me, and then I just wanted to share it out in case anyone was absent on the day I actually deliver the presentation. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Which one is it? Okay, so this is how I start the school year. It also includes some boys' learning plans. And then today's August 6th. It's at 8 a.m. And I'm Charlie Klausner. I'm the seventh grade math teacher. It's my seventh year in seventh grade in this role of math, as well as what I think is life coaching and life teaching, how to teach the young men how to be great brothers and sons and men. And I'm also the boys learning faculty coach. So yesterday I was totally geeking out with the presentation from Lost Boys because there's just so much there when it comes to boy brain learning and how we approach our young men that I really appreciate it. Also, I put in there, I'm a lover of life. And I put in this quokka, which is just the cutest thing. And evidently, if you look at something, an animal, cute animal, 30 minutes later, those people report higher levels of happiness. So you're welcome. Now, I joined St. Louis School in 2019 in July because I wanted to be a positive male role model for the next generation of wise gentlemen. And I have the receipts to prove it. This is a email I wrote to our administration at the time from Friday, July 19th, 29, or July 5th, 2019. And I talk about, some questions and my acceptance. And then at the bottom, I wrote about my commitments and promises at the start of this purge. So I promised to be a positive and ever learning teacher and colleague. I promise to be a leader for all students, a rigorous yet nurturing classroom teacher for my seventh graders, and a dedicated role model at all times. So it is important to me that I am here today to talk about what does it mean to have strong, solid relationships and teaching practices to start the year, because that is exactly where it starts. It starts even before that, which I'll talk about. Now, I know your time is most valuable resource, so thank you for spending it with me. It's a 30-minute presentation in person. I can probably do it quicker online, but we'll walk away with these three things. An understanding of how I aim to build authentic relationships in the classroom through what we all know, and I know a lot of us were raised with it, but with that tough love. And understanding how I aim to build culturally responsive spaces of belonging for all our students. And then also I'll include some strategies around starting the school year, things I do, 16 positive classroom strategies just throughout the year, and then also boys learning strategies. And then yesterday, Dr. KK said, to have a great professional development session, I need to keep your interest, make it relevant to you, and then also share tools and resources, which I aim to do. Now, great educators in my book need to do these two things. They need to love and teach whole kids. We do not teach content or curriculum like Miss Jensen said yesterday. We teach kids. We teach young men. We teach the men of Kalaipohaku. And we must fundamentally believe that every single one of them is special and has their gifts and has their different modalities of learning. And they have a place in our school and they belong. And then we also must believe in each and every one of them to learn, to be able to grow and to have a growth mindset, not only for ourselves as educators, but for them as young men. And John Hattie, the research a couple of years ago I quoted was the number one predictor of student success is teacher expectations. Does the teacher truly believe in that child's ability to learn? And so it really leads to this question for me. Well, then how do we build authentic, culturally responsive relationships with our students? And not just with teacher to student, but student to student, student to school, student to community, all those aspects of a relationship. So I pulled some quotes. Mr. Yu and Miss Castro started with the idea, what does it even mean to belong? How did you feel when you belong? What does it mean to be hospitable, to be welcoming, to be open doored? Coach Kaka said, how do we create a school culture that centers empowerment and accountability and integrity? And of course, love. And Steph Jensen from the Lost Boys taught us the five keys. So, how are we to develop young men who are these five things? Capable in themselves, confident in their skills, constructive in their identities, connective to others, and then contributory to our society, to our classrooms, to our communities. And how do we ensure that we understand that content can be computerized, yet character cannot? No AI, no video is going to replace a face-to-face for me. It's just not. And so I then think, how do we communicate to the students that we have their best interests at heart, we care about them, and we believe in them? That's the goal of education. And we know this through a cultural context, like cultural relevancy. Dr. Madero said, this is Hawaii. We and our students are to learn about Hawaii. And in classical Hawaiian education, the teacher-student relationship lasted for life. Those are not my words. It lasted for life. It was a lifelong connection. And therefore, the continual goal is to instill in our students the proverb of mai ha'alele I ka'ao. Never abandon learning. It is lifelong. There is no end date on character academic learning, as Steph Jensen said yesterday. And so how do we instill this lifelong learning, this apprenticeship, this relationship, the pilina we have? And so in Hawaiians believe through place and family, aina and ohana, right? The connection there. And also nakua, right? The connection to the spiritual realm. But place and family is what I think about when I start a school year. So for me, that lifelong connection starts even before I meet them. And so therefore, my first 2 weeks plan really centers around my preparation. If you're always prepared, you don't have to get prepared. I have this idea in my head of preschool. It starts with week 0, and it's this week right now. It starts with me memorizing students' names, making sure my rosters are good to go. It's me making sure my resources and my rooms are set up. It's exactly how I want it. It's set up so that they know their structure. My welcome emails sent out, my summer packets sent out. My schedule is printed and posted on my wall. So the first day, setting my students up for success. First day, setting me up for success, being prepared, being professional, and getting ready for another school year. And then also the readiness component. For me, this means having a good night's sleep. It means taking care of myself this week. It means ensuring that the things I am doing this week are positive and productive towards those that first 20 minutes when I have students. And I'll talk to you why I have pictures of trash cans on the screen. Yes, I will. And the hallway. But the belief in our students starts from the very first moment you meet the students. So, I mean, really quickly, just kind of get somebody to share out what are the things that you are doing this week to get ready for your students. Okay, great. Great. Well, then these are the things. Then this is what I print out and put on my board so that every student can look at this, see this, and kind of know expectations up front, as well as know where I am, my schedule, this is the right classroom. And it eliminates all that, oh my gosh, I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. Kind of things that we see with our chickens with their heads cut off first day of class. So then it gets to Friday. So day 1 introduction. And I'm introducing them to this place, Kalaipohaku, Newell Hall 63, and to my family, to me. And so that starts with me honoring my grandmother. It starts with me telling them the high expectations I have of myself as an educator. I want to be one of the best that they're ever going to have. It's me honoring the people that came before me and my kumu that taught me, and then also learning about their family, learning their names, hearing it from them, and then learning about their makua, learning about their kona. And then also driving home, this is the place that we are in, this room, this classroom has expectations, and there is protocol to entering. And it is a sacred place for me. It is an important place for me. And I spent most of my 20s in that classroom. And so it's an important thing. And then I asked them these 3 agreements. And I said, you know what, if you can't agree to these things, I understand we're just going to have you hang outside today. But they're going to follow all the directions. And they have to know that I'm never going to lead them astray. They have to never bully others. In fact, I want them to stand up for what is right. And they need to honor their family and honor their ancestors, honor the people that brought them, honor their legacies that brought them to St. Louis School, because most of them have that. And then when they actually come into the classroom, this would be day 2 through day 4, I have lesson plans built around all these things, but we have to teach what we want to see. If they never know, then I have no expectation that they're gonna know. So how do I do that? And what do? Well, I have standard entry and exit procedures. I teach them how we do lectures, how they note take, how we do whiteboards as a class and what they need to do. And I have step-by-step guides for each one of these. How we do centers and stations, movement throughout the classroom, group work, independent practice, How do they sit there and talk to somebody knee to knee, eye to eye? Digital tools and my expectations around their digital citizenship, how they interact with guest speakers, like in this photo, like what are they to be doing? They're sitting up straight, they're listening, they're nodding their head, they're asking questions. And I teach them sign language. A lot of my procedures center around sign. If they need to use the restroom, they show me sign language. They need to get water, they show me sign language. If they break their pencil, they need a new pencil, they show me sign language. It's quiet, it's respectful, and my students are learning, and they're in their own bodies. And again, a lot of movement. I teach them a ton of games. How do they act when we're stretching? I walk them through homework. And then the ones from yesterday, how do they follow my instructions? You look me in the eye, you say, okay, and then you do what I ask, right? Accepting no, accepting feedback, disagreeing. These are ones I'm going to start to include a little bit more explicitly. For me, this might be the best cheat sheet. This is how I model behaviors. I model it, I coach it, I practice it, we repeat it, and then I praise it. Teach behavior. Teach the basic skills to empower confidence is what's said yesterday. Then I walk through some of the nitty gritty with the syllabus, supplies, grades, and disciplines. I teach them a small more bit about me, but I do have a bigger presentation I kind of save for later. Summer packet review, history of St. Louis, introduce the first project where they have to go out and interview a former student of mine, art and drawing, get to know the student. And I try to build projects that AI cannot do. I try to build projects that require them to draw, to use art, to speak in class, to research on the internet. And then I give them a wall art tour and show them around, highlight the expectations around composting versus the garbage bin versus recycling. And then I open it up for questions. And last, I always close with testimonials. I say, here are students that sat in those seats that say that this was the best class of their life. And then the next 5 weeks, it's building that sense of capability and confidence. So in my class, we're reviewing a lot of the K to 6 standards. I find so many pukas and students' knowledge gaps and skill development. And so we all do it. Now, obviously, my honors guys that are more advanced are getting enrichment and getting a little push, but everyone is going through. And what does it do? It builds a ton of confidence off the start. They say, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then when I give them 7th grade work and 8th grade work, they say, I can do this. And also it develops similar language and same vocabulary. So then we're all operating on, hey, this is how I call, cross multiplication or the butterfly effect, those things. And I have a document and I walk through this document on the first day of school on what I asked for, how we get in and out of our seats, what to do if someone enters the classroom, dress codes, all the things you have to teach them. And then beyond week 2, these are the things I include, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of them, but I'm going to show you on the next couple slides, but it is a art and a science to teach. We all know this. I use a lot of communication, email parents, Google Classroom, all that, email students. This is part of review. I incorporate relevant Pokemon, things that they like, things that they want to see, ways you can work, multimodality, fantasy football, connect to their interests, negative numbers in fantasy football. I get negatives all the time. First gallery walk, I show them how I want them to make their papers look. Dream board instructions. What do they really want? Quote drawing activity, and then get to know me board where they tell me about who they are and what they want in this world. And then they have to go interview. The first project I make them do, they have to go find someone, and they can hear it all they want from me, but they're really going to know what I'm like by talking to the 400 other students at this campus that I've taught. Wellness wheel, self-care, connecting to indigenous knowledge, getting to know them, letting them be creative. AI can't build this. Showing me who they are, they're my groups, and important here, self-identity, a place of belonging. All my group identities are part of me, but I am always all of me. I know and like who I am, and I can talk about myself. I can express pride and confidence without denying value and dignity of others. Letters to self. And I can share more about these as we're these next couple slides. And I have videos made around these as well, but ain't nobody got time for that right now. So we got to get to these. But these are some of the things I feel are make exceptional educational experiences. Boys learning, shorter lessons, smaller units, stand and stretch, social emotional, culture, game-based learning, healthy competition. I made this presentation 3 years ago, and it's up there. And then positive behavior, positive classroom, a proactive classroom management, organization, motivation system, cueing, behavioral expectations, visual schedules, positive greetings, 5 to 1, be nice. If you don't fundamentally love kids and believe in all kids, this is going to be a tough year, as they all are. And then finally, so here's the standard schedule on this Wednesday. So it's a 75-minute block and then a 95-minute block that we have on Fridays. I know I grumbled at the start first, but we're professionals and we can do it. I generally start with a do now, a lecture, a class practice, independent practice, personalized learning group, and then a check for understanding. That's kind of a similar lesson breakdown. And then this is how I would go about it over 75 minutes. I don't have a ton of time to talk about this, and then a typical day with a 95-minute block. So a 95-minute block, I would just kind of extend some things, include more movement breaks, longer stretch break, give them time to work on their projects, group work, individual work, center, stations, classwork. Then have them maybe the 15 minutes of there that I can extend where you have online personalized learning time. So this is where we landed. I hope you guys got an understanding of where I come from with an authentic relationship and how do we build that through trust and love, and high expectations, and how I aim to build culturally responsive spaces. And then I gave you a list, which I will share out to everyone. So thank you all. The next, I believe, Miss Cameron's going to talk about how to build lessons. And if you want any help or guidance, talk story session time, or stop by my classroom, Newell Hall 63. You're always welcome to pop into my classroom anytime. And then if you want me to pop into your classroom and look for things where I think you could maybe incorporate boys learning or effective teaching strategies for that. And then, yeah, this book kind of saved me my first couple of years. So I did read this. It's been a long time, but if you're struggling with like, oh my gosh, what do I do the first couple of weeks? This was one good one. All right. Thank you very much.